a written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
All right, let's call the meeting to order here. Please stand if you can, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Well, welcome to the Exchange. I am Tom Foster. I'm president of the 2024 Board of Directors. And this meeting is audio and visually recorded by the RCSC management and staff. Please be advised that there is to be no recording of the meeting by any individuals. Please take out your cell phones, of which I just heard someone's ringing back there, and any other electronic devices, and check to ensure that they might be in vibrate or silent mode. We would appreciate that, and I'll try to remind you to turn them back on when we're finished today. Also a further reminder that we don't tolerate verbal or physical abuse toward any member, any guest, any visitor, any employee, or any staff member during our proceedings, and any violators will be asked to leave the facility. Also remind you that there is a special session after this Exchange meeting, so you may want to, I wonder, hang around for that. Let me introduce the Board of Directors, our timekeeper, and the management personnel that are here. Director Collins is on his way. Director Nettesign is...
Just texted, she's on her way.
Oh, excellent. Director Fimmel.
Good morning.
Secretary Rickmeyer.
Good morning.
Treasurer Borski.
Morning.
Director Keiss.
Good morning.
Director Ruff.
Good morning.
And Vice President McAdam.
So good morning and happy Veterans Day to everyone, and a very warm and grateful thank you to all of those of you who have served.
Well, we were going to get to that,
sorry.
but thank you for jumping ahead. On the management side, our General Manager, Matthew D. Lizansky.
Good morning.
Our Support Finance Senior Leader, Kevin McCurdy.
Good morning.
Facilities Senior Leader, Mike Whiprud.
Hello.
Non-golf Senior Leader, Mike Diermeyer.
Yep.
Golf Senior Leader, Brian Duthu. Assistant to the GM, Debbie Giles. And the Board Coordinator is Marcia Johnson.
Morning.
Also want to recognize Alan Kleinhaus, Carla Young, Miguel Jackson, and Doreen Rafferty, who are our audio and visual engineers. And with respect to Veterans Day, I think all the veterans should stand for a moment and let us recognize you for the service that you've rendered to your country. Thank you so much for your service. It is very much appreciated. All right, I would also like to introduce board candidates for the 2024 election, which is coming up very shortly. So if you would stand, if you're here, Rick Gray in the back there, John Brissett in the front here, Anita Borski, Mike Egge in the back there. Chris Nettesign is here. and myself, Tom Foster. All right. Not that you probably need this reminder, but I think the voting starts electronically on November 25th.
Monday.
And then extends through to December 10th. And on the 10th, you can also vote in person at Lakeview. Okay, I hope if you did pick up a document at the back of the room that refers to the exchange topics, we want to spend a few minutes looking at those before we open the floor for current comments. So, first one on the list had to do with the library. My understanding is everything's been done that we can do at our end. It is in the hands of the county, Maricopa County. Is there any other update on that, or are we still waiting for them?
The only update, I guess I can use this. The only update was there was a minor tweak to one of the letters that was done, and so that's been okayed and executed as far as I know, and we're waiting for them to send us the signed one with the county signatures.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Bylaw changes, I think those will be on the agenda for November 21st meeting. Is that correct, Director Ruff?
Yes.
Lawn Bowling had requested to present some information, which they did to the chair of the Lawn Bowling Committee, and she did circulate that to board members.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
the meeting's October 31st, not the 24th.
No,
Or
November.
November.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Marcia and I got each other mixed up.
Sorry.
Have a senior moment every once in a while. That's okay.
No, every day.
All right. Question about the visitor center, and I believe we are down to one part-time staff member. Everyone else is a volunteer, and there is some discussion now about further facility or hours, or exactly, is there any clarification to that situation?
There's nothing new at the moment. Am I on there? There's nothing new in the moment to that. We are looking at it being closed the week of Christmas.
Okay. Okay, that seems like we might have some visitors over the holidays, but, okay. Lawn bowling asked to be included on the website, and Chris, that is been addressed?
Yes, that's been taken on board.
All right, thank you. And okay, pickleball courts at Mountain View and resurfacing, that is under consideration for 2025. Sun City Palms, we're looking for a means in order to perform and have some filming done on our property, and the general manager has prepared a release form. I believe that is in their hands now.
They did not have a release form, so we're going to prepare one for anybody that wants to do the same sort of thing.
All
So
right.
that is in near final form.
All right, do we need anything on board policy adjustments for that?
No.
We're good? All
We're
right.
good.
Thank you. Water bottle fillers on the golf courses. There was at least a trial of a couple of bottle fillers on Riverview. Mr. Duthu, we made any progress on that?
Mr. President, the fountains that we have on Riverview are working well for the time being, but I think we still need to go through a good part of the summer to find out how effective they're truly going. They're all cold right now.
Well, that's good, because there's no cold water at my house. Everything is always hot, so.
Even this time of year?
Yeah, even this time of year.
Wow.
All right, and then the next one is already completed, so Ms. Johnson, does that complete all the ones we need to address?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. All right, let me just remind folks before we open the mic for exchange topics that we're really trying hard to limit the exchange here to non-PAC items. Reserve your comments on the PAC issues when we get to the special session, if you will, please. Lots of other conflicts today and scheduling issues, so we'd like to be as efficient as we can. I know we have a big group, and I'm sure a lot of you would like to speak, but if we could just handle issues that are not related to the PAC during the exchange, I would very much appreciate that. All right. Whoever wants to step up first, go right ahead.
That way we can get to the special session soon.
Orrin Kohlberg, 39406. My number, I'm president of the Bell Billiard Club. I know a lot of you don't play billiards, but I'll give you a little hint about the game of billiards. Does anybody know what a medium pizza and a billiard player have in common? Neither one can feed a family of 4. Anyways, in the rules that we got, it's under the section of club rules and purchases and such. Section E, number 2, it says club presidents or vice presidents are responsible for verifying and submitting inventory. Since I've been president, it's been an unsaid rule that if it's under $1,000, we don't need to do that. Is that going to be the same rule going forward?
Director Collins, do you have, or Director Borski?
I believe so. Do you inventory anything under 1,000? No. Yeah, the $1,000 would still stand.
Okay. Number 2, as long as I got a little time here, we have been asking for diamond tables up there for about 5 years. When Jim Wellman was in charge, he says, well, the new tables are on 1/2 inch smaller pockets. We don't know if the people are going to like them, so we're going to test them. So they bought 5. They got 2 down at Lakeview, and they got 3 up at Bell. And ever since then, you can't get on a diamond table because everybody wants those first. Unfortunately, Jim Wellman is gone, and so is the money for the rest of the tables. And now they're letting us have 1 table a year. When Jim Wellman was in charge, they were $5,000 a piece. Now they're up to 8. It's not going to go down. Also, the billiard tables at Bell, when the billiard tables 5 years ago were $14,000, now they're closer to 19. They're only made in Europe, the good ones. There's a tournament coming up in Tucson in the next month or so, which does have the official real billiard tables. And after the tournament, the supplier sells these billiard tables at a discount. And we may be able to get 2 for the price of 1. Do we do any dealing like that, or do we just wait till you got money for a regular one?
Mr. McCurdy, do we have any flexibility in our budget for something of that nature?
I'm always interested in a 2-for-1 deal. So you can let me know the details and we'll follow up on that.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Claudia Wilson, 145604. I want to address the library leases and just know up front, I desperately want to be wrong about this. If the leases are not already completed, it's unlikely that they will be before they expire at the end of the year. Anyone who has worked in government understands that very little gets done during the month of December, and the highest priority items get the most attention. While we believe that our library leases are of the utmost importance, they're only one issue that Maricopa County has on its plate to address before year's end. They have dozens, if not hundreds, of contracts to complete. By you failing to consider that and initiating the process back in the spring, you don't get to blame Maricopa County if it doesn't get done. Remember during the April exchange meeting when I told you that I question your experience in negotiating contracts? This is exactly what I was talking about. Remember that this auditorium was filled with hundreds of cardholders outraged at your inability to get the library leases signed on time? What mood do you think members will be in come January?
Do we want to, okay. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Bill Agee. I'm the president of the Duffy Land Dog Park Club. And RCSC number. Oh, 149789.
Thank you.
And as president the last 2 years, the relationship with the RCSC has been rather contentious. It's been problems with the RCSC. My first year, we were assigned 2 COCs, and they had nothing but disdain and biased opinions of the club. They went as far as to call a meeting to tell us how worthless we were and tried to disband the club. Now the retaliation is let's let the park deteriorate. And to put the icing on the cake, it is the fact that RCSC has accused Sun City residents of stealing dog bags, and that's the reason they're not being stopped. One of our club members spent $60 on dog bags because RCSC would not supply them. It's pretty sad that residents just want to go to the park, have a good time, let their dogs run, but it's always something with the RCSC. I understand a while back you had a program, I believe it was called Operation Trees Down, and you went to your properties and replaced trees, but you left out the dog park. I just wish that there wasn't disdain for the dog park and the citizens that patronize that park. Thank you.
Mr. President. Director Collins.
Yes, I'm in charge of the COC, and I do take offense to that. There has not been a complaint to the COC for anything that you're saying. So how can I fix something if you're not telling me? You had trouble, you're right, when you first started. We had to work through that. I thought we did. We have not had any complaints from the dog park. So to come in here and say that we're against you or any of that, I feel that is wrong. If you need, you have my number, you can call me, and I would look into any issues that you have. Thank you.
Let me just add one comment to that, because you mentioned a member had called the RCSC, or in fact sent me an email, me personally, about the bags not being stocked, and did make the allegation that they had been told that by someone at RCSC that the bags were being stolen and they weren't going to be restocked. And I have yet to find anyone who admits to saying that. However, I did send Mr. D. Lazansky and Mr. Deermeyer out to Duffy Land to restock those bags. And they did find that whoever that individual was who had bought bags had put bags in there. So they left some bags that day, as I recall. So there was no, we did try to address that issue as soon as it came up. I am not aware I mean, I think we did address that, so I'm not sure what's still at issue from your side of the table, but if there is something, please let me know.
It has not been addressed. And I informed you of this problem. One of my club members went to the corporate office, asked the secretary at the corporate office why we weren't getting bags. Her response was people were stealing them. So,
okay. I'll take your word for that. Well, I will continue to investigate to see what, if anything, happened at our end. But clearly, we did send bags out there, so I'm not sure about your...
Okay, the bags, we have 12 poop stations. Yes. Each holds 2 boxes of bags. Okay. One of the employees that stocks the bags will bring us maybe 6 boxes, so we can fill up half of the stations. Right now, we have no large bags, which I requested, which I shouldn't have to request. I never have, in the last 2 years I've been doing this, have to request bags. There was a fella by the name of Mike that used to stock the bags. We never had this problem. But now, all of a sudden, that people think we're stealing them, we're not getting properly stocked.
Well, okay. Don't worry about that. They will bring you bags. End of story. You will get your bags. So don't worry about that. I'll make sure of that.
Thank you.
I was just going to say a couple of things. The COCs mentioned by the gentleman are not presently the COCs that we have. They are former board members. And I guess the only other observation I would make is I think you have to have a key fob to get into the park. So I'm not exactly sure how people would be coming into the park who don't currently have fobs to be in the park.
Are we ready?
Director Borski.
Bill, I was one of those COCs you're talking about, and we never came in to close your club. We came in because your club was having disagreements back and forth around the whole club. What we came in for is to have you recognize what your rules said and why your club was formed. And for some reason, people didn't understand, didn't want to understand. I don't know what happened. But you did have a private meeting with the board president at that time and the general manager explaining how Duffyland was created and explaining what your rules and responsibilities were. So don't say the COCs tried to disband you. We didn't do that. As a matter of fact, your club took a vote and they chose to disband. But then that got changed again. So we've tried very hard to work with you, and we'll still work with you. And if bags are your biggest problem, we'll resolve that. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Evie Webb Swope, number 168514. Mr. President, fellow members, guests, I'm here also to talk about the dog park. I jealously guard the dog park. I got a 90-pound dog, and these old legs don't run fast enough to give him the exercise that he needs. So I count on the dog park to make that happen. I have done extensive research in trying to figure out exactly the history, why this contentious relationship. I don't understand it. It's a flippin' dog park. It's not, a pageantry of any kind. There's no competition. And unfortunately, and I could be wrong, I admit that right up front, that the only thing I found that really had substance besides the rules that are written when you walk into the dog park are 4 items that are very vaguely written about maintenance, management, improvements, and repairs. Nowhere does it say specifically, if I were just to look at this, and I am new to this area, as you can tell by my number, I'm sure, I could not tell who is responsible for what. There's no mention of anything other than to make it look pleasing. My recommendation is that you be more specific in outlining exactly where does the RCSC stand, what is the club's responsibility, and the members of, or the patrons of Duffyland Dog Park. So that would be one suggestion that I have. The other is, it's just kind of ugly. If you haven't been to the dog park lately, we've got dead trees, we've got plastic coming up. In the last 2 years, I'm not sure what happened, but it just doesn't look as enticing as it did when I first did my research about moving to Sun City. So I'm kind of embarrassed about it right now. I still love it. My dog does much better with the park than without it, but I would just like, you have a lot of advertising about how pleasant and safe and everything that the Sun City is, and I'd like the dog park to reflect that as well.
Director Borski.
Have you seen your club rules and regulations?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Some of that should be explained in there.
It doesn't, well, are you talking about the ones that are written? Yes, I did see that. It doesn't say anything about the litter. It doesn't say anything about the dead trees. It doesn't say.
No, it wouldn't address the trees.
No,
But as far as
of course not.
The dog club's responsibility, where their responsibility lays in the dog park.
Are you sure it would address the the litter bags?
It won't address who replaces them, but there are some things that the club has agreed to do to maintain the park.
Right.
And those should be posted by your club. They wrote them.
Right. And not to get into the weeds here, but it talks about, we should be keeping it maintained and cleaning. Those brooms have been fixed so many times, I can't pick them up and sweep the grounds anymore. So it's stupid things that I don't want to waste your time on. But if you need us to buy it, then let us know and we'll see if we can get some donations. But if you're going to do it, then please do so. I don't think that's too much to ask, okay?
There's a lot of people in line there, so not to belabor this, but does the RCSC own Duffyland Dog Park?
Yes, we do.
It is one of our properties. Okay.
You donated.
Good morning. My name is Phil Gilson, number 105226, and I'm here also to speak about Duffyland. Before I start, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I'd like to give you, Mr. President, some pictures.
Can we reach?
Be careful.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, let me bring them down.
So those are pictures that were taken just a couple of days ago of the grounds of Duffyland. My concern is the maintenance inside the park. Outside the park, when you drive in, the parking lot is manicured. It is perfect. The bushes are trimmed. It really looks nice. As soon as you step inside, it's a different picture. Out of curiosity, how many of you in the last year have actually set foot in the dog park? Show of hands, please.
No.
2.
I don't have a fob.
Some of the bushes, as you'll see in the pictures, are dead and have been dead for quite a while. In addition, the vast majority of the trees are in terrible shape. The pictures will reflect that. There are 2 stumps that have been there for a long time, and they get water every time the water comes on. They're not going to grow. There's a snag that's about 14 feet tall. It gets water every time it comes on. It's not going to grow either.
So, sir, are you, not to sound facetious, but you're talking about an irrigation system and not the patrons urinating on these things?
I'm talking about the irrigation system.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I understood what you
The
meant.
patrons are pretty good about it.
Okay.
Okay. Additionally, the plastic underlay that's over the sand in the park is starting to come up in a number of places, primarily on the top of the hills. The reason being is gravity. When they go through with the broom to sweep the park, they sweep the top of the hills off. It trickles down to the bottom. We've got sand this deep by the walkways and centimeters on the top. The only trees that are doing well in the park are those that have wells around them. They retain the water. The others, the majority of the water just runs off. It doesn't get the water. It's an amenity that all of us enjoy, and I think it's a responsibility of RSC to keep up the maintenance with that as well as they do the rest of the parks. I don't see a lot of dead trees around the rest of Sun City. I just think we should be afforded the same amount of maintenance. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Vice President McAdam.
Obviously, we take seriously the condition of our grounds. I was completely unaware of the conditions that three of you now have referenced. But I just want to ask something. We do have a system for RCSC members to submit comments to management, right? When something's not working, you know, if you no hot water in your shower or whatever it is. And I'm just curious, has that been used by people that are in the club? Have you submitted those requests to the management team about the conditions at the park?
I do not know. I do know that there's 6 hours a month allocated for maintenance on the park. That's all.
Okay. Well, I'm just putting this out there. I happen to represent a position on the board that a board should not be. We provide oversight for things. We want to make sure that the management team is operating this organization successfully. We should not be getting involved in questions about whether the bubbler on this tree is on or not. So my recommendation, strong recommendation to you and to anybody else who's here right now is when you see things like that happening, remember that we actually do have a system in place. You can go right online, you can submit a card, get the information out there to the management team if you see a need for some kind of remedial action to be taken place. Do that and you will get a response from the management team. They will track that, they will tell you what's happening with it. So just putting that out there to say that that's probably a better platform than coming to an exchange meeting and then addressing the board about it.
May I
Just
respond?
my own 2 cents worth.
May I respond?
Sure.
I would think that the maintenance people would observe that and take action, and they haven't.
I understand you thinking that, and I would urge you to, I think it's being well noted by the management team right now, but just so that everybody is aware of the fact that we actually have a system in place for making those kinds of comments known to the management team. So.
Thank you.
If I may.
Well, you had your time. There's a line behind you. You can come at.
If I may, I have
No,
sent
sir.
emails to the board.
Yes, I know, but the others are in line too, sir. Thank you.
Matthew wants to speak. Matthew.
Oh, go ahead, Matthew.
I'd just like to say, hello? Hello, there we go. I'd just like to say that other than the poop bag issue that Mike and I went out as soon as we heard about it to check and make sure they were in there, I have not heard any of this before. There was one email that came in over this weekend that had a list of the things that I believe it was Evie spoke on. We just spent quite a bit of money putting new concrete down at the entryways at the dog park. So we take the dog park very seriously. And the normal course of action with this would be if there's an issue with the club, you would take it to the clubs, and then we would look at putting in a work order. So we'll take care of the dog park. You know, I'm actually in trouble for removing dead trees because I thought they were bad, and the last 2 summers have been devastating to vegetation in general, trees, bushes, cactus, so we will address it. And if we need to put in a truckload of sand, we'll put in a truckload of sand. So thank you for bringing it to my attention. We'll take care of it.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Director Collins.
Matthew, I've noticed the Greens crew is at Lakeview every month, and they go through there. Do we send a Greens crew to the dog park on a routine basis?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Jay Kirksey. My member number is 167893. They made it easy so I could remember it. You can probably tell I'm new, and I heard Mrs. Webswope mention that she had researched before coming here. My wife did as well, and also had family members. You know, you hear about Sun City and you hear about lifestyle. And let me tell you, it's fun. And I'm guessing others can agree. But lifestyle also affects the future of Sun City and where we go from here. And there's so many things to do, which I'm saying things you already are aware of. But as I view it, there's 4 things that make a big difference from a physical standpoint. There's 4 physical activities you can see: golf, lawn bowling, tennis, and I'm probably missing one. Oh, pickleball. Yeah, I knew that. But regardless, as I also see, we've got young'uns and we've got old'uns. Heck, it's fun to be quick again at age 61. But regardless, I see those who can still be active when they're 70 and they're 80 and they're 90. So what I'm here to talk about is not about lawn bowling, and it's not about the PAC. What it is about is future physical life activity and the lifestyle of Sun City. Because as I understand it, there are alternative places to put the PAC, which is a wonderful thing. Heck, I love to sing, and I'll be there as much as possible, as will a lot of people. But the only physical life activity, and we all know that when you have a portfolio, whether it's a business or a city, it should be diversified. And those 4 physical lifelong activities, one of which is being affected, is lawn bowling. And lawn bowling, to give you some idea, in 2023, it's documented. It had over 27,000 uses last year. In 2024, as of today, it's over 21,000 uses. There's multiple in location Sun City Low tournaments, as well as U.S. Opens and Nationals that bring in literally millions of dollars. But what it goes back to is it's not about lawn bowling, it's about the future. And so the reason I bring that up is someone might say, well, what's the difference? Why not just get rid of those 2 greens? Thank you, ma'am. I'm used to those things. And what difference does it make to get rid of Lakeview? Well, the answer is, and I understand, you may not understand it, but you should be fully informed instead of less than fully informed. If you had a golf course that only had 9 holes, if you had a tennis court that only was divided in half, if you had pickleballs that was only divided in half, those activities would disappear. It's necessary, an absolute necessity, if you understand the physical life activity, to have 2.
I get it, sir. You've wandered away more into lawn bowling and the PAC.
No, sir. I'm sticking to an activity which is essential in a diversified portfolio for the future of Sun City, for physical life activities for many people, and asking for an understanding simply that if you had 9-hole golf courses instead of 18, it would affect Sun City as a whole and all its citizens. Likewise, if you get rid of one of the two-ring locations in Sun City, like having a 9-hole golf course, would have that same effect.
You're not fully maybe aware of all the things you're going to hear a little bit later, so hang on to that thought, though.
I will, and let me end with this. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, I'm Sarah Nellison, 162904. I'm also here about the dog park. I will be short. First of all, the dog park is a facility, just like the swimming pool, the golf courses, or anything else. It is not a club. It does have a social club, but anyone in Sun City who pays their annual fee can use the dog park. They need to get this entry token that's only been used for about a year. Before that, you could just go. But that's the only requirement. It is not a club. The other thing that I'd like to say is, as far as the maintenance and the trees and stuff, the dog park's closed the last Wednesday of the month for maintenance. I think they allow 3 hours for that. If you drive by there after about a couple of hours, they can be seen sometimes sitting under the canopies drinking coffee. So we don't always get the maintenance. They drive the broom things around and continue to pile up the gravel around the trees where there should be wells so they can get water. I first came to Sun City 3 years ago. The dog park was beautiful. It was the neatest place to go. I have an older dog who tired of going to the dog park. She was too old. This spring, in May, I got a new dog. And I started taking this dog to the dog park. And when I went, I was absolutely shocked at the condition of the dog park. It has really deteriorated. I am not a member of the club. I use the facility just like I would the swimming pool, the tennis courts, the golf course, or anything else you find in Sun City. And I don't find anything else in Sun City that is in poor a condition as the dog park. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Fimmel.
Thank you. Duffyland Dog Park Club is in fact a club, and in fact it was created exclusively for the members of the club to provide maintenance to keep the park clean. The RCSC has a part to play in that, but the members of the Duffyland Dog Club Park also have a part to play in that. That was the reason why that group was formed.
May I ask, since apparently the dog park has touched a nerve here today, and I think you've made your point, folks, so is there anyone else who still wants to talk about the dog park? Okay, go ahead.
Not me, I'm changing the subject. Robert Court, 141991. At a recent town hall.
Hold on.
What's that? Robert Court, 141991. At a recent town hall, I addressed the assessment fees and its inequality. I emphasized Article 8, Section 3, prohibiting the RCSC from enacting bylaws contradicting the Articles of Incorporation. I mentioned that Article 8, Section 5 guarantees equal rights and privileges while subjecting each member to equal responsibilities, including the assessment fee. I provided the definition of equal being identical in mathematical equation, the same in monetary value, and treating each member of a group, class, or society the same. Today, I'll discuss the arguments against this proposal and its lack of substance. Argument number one, I don't use the rec centers. I shouldn't pay a rec center fee. We don't pay a rec center fee. We pay an assessment fee which grants us the rights and privileges, including the use of the rec centers. I believe there should be a campaign to educate new homeowners about this fact, particularly in Sun City, where realtors can play a significant role in this. Counting rooftops, argument number two, counting rooftops is more feasible than counting people. I fail to comprehend the difficulty in counting people. I suggest you contact Sun City West. They charge per person and successfully count their residents there. This brings me to my next point. Everyone pays the same amount in Sun City West, regardless of membership type. They have owners, associates, landlords, and tenants, all paying the same identical fees. It seems that Sun City is in need of additional funds, and I already believe it's not equal for a one-person household to subsidize a two-person household. But why are we subsidizing the renter? Why do renters pay half the rate that I do? Number three, it's been going on for so long we can't change it now. We recently had an election that had a female candidate, and we have 5 women on the board today. What would happen in 1919 if we hadn't passed the 19th Amendment granting the women the right to vote? If male leaders of that era had asserted, it's been going on for too long, we can't change it now, those words would sound absurd today. It's never too late to promote equality, particularly with the assessments fees that we continue to pay annually, knowing those fees will increase for the foreseeable future. Argument number 4, if you don't like the situation, you can just move. This argument is less intelligent than it seems. Many single widowed individuals struggle here to afford their assessment fees. Should we suggest they move? A few years ago, we debated golf rates where members of outside the community receive better rates than our members. What if our GM proposed eliminating outside golf and increasing member rates by 500% to cover the cost? Golfers would protest, claiming it's unfair. Should non-golfers who outnumber the golfers suggest they pack up and move if they don't like it? Of course not. Argument number 5, my last one. The board of directors should focus on more important issues. I state there is nothing more important than equality. I firmly believe that the members of a city, owned and governed by its members, must be treated equally, especially when paying for the upkeep of that city. While activities like pickleball, golf, or PAC may not affect everyone, 100% of all members in the city are affected by the assessment fee. I'm almost done. I got 2 more sentences. Yes. The board will remind us that the elderly and those in need may be eligible for assistance when those fees increase. But how about we implement a system whereby all members pay the same assessment fee, balancing the cost equally and potentially lowering the cost of the single member that struggles to pay those fees? Thank you.
Are you sure you want?
Thank you. While it was brought up, I just want to step in here for a second. Anyone who is struggling with their assessment fees, please come down to the foundation, the corporate office, and apply and see if you qualify to get your assessments paid. There's only, we only have like 1% of our people apply. We should have at least 10% because that's the poverty line. And I know there's more people out there. I know you're too proud, but please come down and you can ask for me and I'll come sit with you and talk to you. And let's see if we can help the people who need the help. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Ron Mralik. My number is 148655. In 2012, I was living in Southern California in a retirement community. And 3 weeks after I moved in there, and the reason I moved into that place is they had an executive golf course and they were chipping green and all kinds of stuff. And I was looking forward to retirement and I was going to get good at golf. 3 weeks after I moved in, there was a sign, a banner up on the entrance gate and said, Men's U.S. Open Lawn Bowling. And I went, lawn bowling? I've been a 10-pin bowler for 60 years. I've never heard of lawn bowling. I got to go find out what that is. So the next day I went down, I watched some of the people, and I said, I know I can get better at that game than I will ever get at golf. No matter. So in 2000, this was in September of 2012. In 2013, my company let me go. I was now officially retired. Where do I move to? Because I didn't want to stay in Southern California. Everybody I spoke to that was the lawn bowler said, you have to go to Arizona. You have to go to the Sun City area. So I came over and I looked and I said, yes, this is the place that I want to be. So all I want to say is I purposely moved here for lawn bowling. And I know there's many other people here in this room that may have done the same. I don't use the other facilities. I don't golf. I don't use your swimming pools. I very much appreciate the availability if I so choose to use them. But at this time, I have not done so, and I don't. Anyway, I'm just vehemently against the consideration to lose the Lakeview Greens. I just want to make that known.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Kathy Hosking, 146289. I don't use my card often. Thank you for the gentleman who spoke on the equality. As a single homeowner here, I saved for a long time to purchase my home here. And I feel like I'm getting priced out of my home with these assessment fees. Being single, it's discriminatory that I pay the same price as a couple pays. Nowhere in the world can I go to a gym and go up to management and say, hey, I'm bringing my spouse in for free because I belong, because I'm a member. I'm not proposing, like Sun City, that it's each one pay. But if the second person paid half price, it would be more equal. I can't afford to keep paying for somebody to come in here for free. And the fact, I didn't even think the fact that renters pay half the price that I pay. It's their choice to come here and rent, and they should have to pay the same price that everybody else does. They're using the same facilities. The maintenance is going up with them, their use of the facilities. So I just feel that, I don't know when, I know it used to be that it was per person. Somewhere along the line, it changed per household who was on the deed. I don't know when. I haven't investigated that. But I just feel it's very discriminatory to a single to have to pay for the same price that a couple does. Now, for say, okay, I'm paying, I get 2 cards. As a single, one of my cards could be stamped guest only, and my people who come in from out of town, my family who come to visit, can use that card with me with them. That way it's fair. I'm at least being able to have 2 cards. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that one couple gets 2 cards and I get 1. I understand, I signed all these forms, but I really think it's discriminatory towards singles to have to pay for somebody to bring their spouse in for free. I worked hard all my life to earn my money to come here. I love it here. I use the facilities. I swim, I bike, I hike, I kayak, I do everything, and I want to stay fit. And I don't want to be priced out of the rec centers because I can't afford it.
Okay, Director Borski.
Kathy, I've learned one thing as a director. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you think you can solve world peace. I've been thinking about this rental thing that you've been talking about. A lot of our renters are here for 3 months, and that's why they pay the fee they're paying, because it's a larger fee for a 3-month service. However, we have full-time renters. And if you could see my dining room table right now, you would find a note on my table that says, let's look at rental fees and see if something should be changed for our full-time renters. So I appreciate what you had to say, and it's something that's on my mind, and I will be talking to these people about that in the near future. But thank you for bringing it up.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is John Fast. My number is 153253. First, I'd like to lead off with a great big thank you. Thank you for your volunteer service. Thank you for your service. And thank you all for being engaged in your community. I believe that that is going to change the way we operate in Sun City. I have one question only. I believe it's going to be directed to Mr. McCurdy. When the budget was put together, was there an attempt to to estimate the operating costs of the 2 new buildings that are on the PIF. Thank you.
John, could you repeat that question for me, please?
Oh, you're asking me to remember it? John Fast, 15325. No. So the question is, when the budget was put together, which I'm highly complimentary of because the process was so much more open than the past, when it was put together, did you include an estimate of the operating costs of the 2 new buildings that are proposed on the PIF?
No, we did not.
Thank you.
It's going to be 2-3 years.
Hello, my name is Val Tilton. I am the president of the Lakeview, 148767. I'm the president of the Lakeview Lawn Bowling Club, as most members here will recognize my name. I just want to mention that I know we can't talk about lawn bowling or the PAC, but Sun City has so many amenities that to keep people active. We have a unique situation because of our fragile greens. Everybody says they don't see us at all these locations. We have to rotate off because of what the greenskeepers tell us to keep the greens healthy. Sun City is based on keeping, that was Del Webb's dream, to keep seniors active. We have numerous activities that keep people active, but not a lot of them are outside and growing. They're able to compete. It's just part of the dream. And to start taking away part of that dream, we just need to keep it and keep it in perspective of Sun City to keep it the way it is and not just take away amenities that have been here for years. You know, I understand that times are changing, but we are changing with them. So I appreciate, since we can't speak of specifics between lawn bowling and the PAC, I would appreciate all members here to attend the meeting after this exchange meeting where we can voice our opinion about those subjects. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Greg Isaac, 107-258, I believe. I just have a question basically on planning and space requirements, guaranteed space. So if, let's say, in the past, there's been a couple of things. It used to be, it was dedicated space was based on membership, how many members you had. And along with that, it also included usage. And then the usage went away for a while because they stopped tracking usage. And then I believe it has come back. And if it hasn't, I apologize, but I think it has. So my idea is, at least my understanding, is that usage and membership count are the two standing issues as to how you plan for the future, you know, space now and in the future. So my question would be, if that's correct, if you had, let's say, a club with 300 members in the club, and that's kind of the way it's been, and then all of a sudden, and you're planning on, you're announcing plans to do this and to do that and what have you for the future, but then let's say within 3 to 6 months, instead of 300, that membership grew to over 1,000. Would that have any impact on how your decisions may or may not be made for the current medium term and long term, as to the space that would be dedicated for that type of a club.
Did you want to speak?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Troika Wagner, 1094441. My husband and I are Canadians, and we come from a place near Toronto, Ontario. 15 years ago, we decided to move here for the winter. Have you ever heard of a 56-year-old man who does not own a passport? Well, I'm married to him. At the age of 56, he did not own a passport. And when he heard that Sun City had the best lawn bowling greens in North America, and he was a fairly new lawn bowler, he actually moved his butt and he went to apply for a passport. The second, we knew only one person in Sun City, so we didn't come for the friendship. The second day we arrived here, we hired a real estate agent. The third day we got here, we looked at houses. The fourth day we got here, we put in an offer for a house, and it's the same house that we have lived in for the last 15 years. We made it a point to stock the spare room with 2 single beds, because our mission was to introduce the Canadians to lawn bowling. And ever since then, we have always introduced lawn bowlers from our home club to come and stay and visit Sun City. Where is my husband right now? He's on the way to the airport to drive 2 lawn bowlers from our home club back to the airport, back to Canada, and one of them, the same one who has wintered for the past 20 years in Florida, is looking into renting a place for next year. Okay, so back to lawn bowling. It's a real hardship for Canadians to come down here, because if you look at the lowly Canadian dollar, we pay $1.40 for $1 US dollar. So it's not that easy for us to come, but we come for lawn bowling, and it's a lifestyle that we like. Okay, what else did I want to tell you? I didn't write anything down. My husband, the point that I'm trying to make is, dear Board of Directors, when you are considering replacing Lakeview with the Performing Arts Center, please take into consideration this 56-year-old Canadian who did not own a passport, and who for the last 15 years has shown no interest in visiting the Grand Canyon. His only joy is lawn bowling, and that's the only reason why we moved to Sun City, to lawn bowl. We don't even go and do any other activities. It's just lawn bowling. So please don't take our lawn bowling away, or you will be hurt.
Sherry Greta, 151-324. I'm really grateful for all the amenities, but me personally, I don't care about lawn bowling or dogs. What I am here to say is, I know a lot of people are happy that the punch cards are back. Am I correct that it's $2.50 a day for the punch cards? If you come and you are active in a club once a week, that makes $130. Okay, just let's dollars and cents that. If you get rid of the distance requirement, that's a pretty good deal for our neighbors. And I would want to think about, again, making it easy for the neighbors while charging us more money. Ms. Borski, I want to take a moment to talk about changing what you do with renters. There's a lot of different kind of renters. I, for instance, have a housemate. She splits costs with me. She is not on my deed. I don't want to see her paying $600 or $650 or $750 or $8, whatever it becomes. A lot of people lose a spouse, and they find somebody else they want to live with who is also not on the deed. Again, that whole household then will be paying a lot more money if the renters. So I think you need to look at what kind of renter they are, what kind of household that is, to make that more equitable. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you. I know the renter discussion is going to be a big one. There is no simple answer to anything in Sun City. So if and when we have this discussion, it could take a year before we come up with an answer, because there are so many what ifs, and so hang in there. I don't know if we'll get anywhere on it, but we'll try.
My number is 122743, resident of Sun City.
Name, please.
Pardon me?
Your name, please.
Your
name?
What difference does it make? That's my number.
Oh.
I was going to speak about lawn bowling, but you've heard enough about that. But I live adjacent to Mountain View, and I think any changes in any of the rec centers that you're thinking about doing should be a big consideration of what it's going to do to us that live close to the rec centers. How is that going to affect our lives and our value of our property or anything else? So very carefully consider what it does to all of us in Sun City. Take away things that we bought our property to participate in. Luckily at Mountain View, we have such a variety of things that we can do, and I'd hate to have any of it taken away, even horseshoe pits that no one uses, but don't take it away from us. But consider what you're going to do when you redo the rec centers, and make sure that it's not going to affect people who live there close.
Good morning, Lori Ellingson, 1333335. First of all, I would like to say a huge thank you to anyone here that is a veterans. I appreciate all of your time, effort, and dedication to our freedom in the United States. So thank you very much. Second of all, I would like to thank the current board for your time and your common sense and your goodwill towards doing what is best for our community as a whole. I appreciate the fact that you are listening to data, that you are using information that has been documented, and I also appreciate the fact that you understand the importance of change. Charles Darwin is quoted as saying, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It is the most responsive to change." And I know change is difficult, but it is inevitable. And I know that there are cause and effects. What you do, the decisions that you make, affect everyone differently. So I appreciate you using good information and good data in making the decisions that you make. Driver's ed. Two concepts that I remembered. Number one, put your hands at 2 and 10. The most important concept, get the big picture. That is also critical here in our community. What you do is going to affect the future generations. It is going to affect the people that live here right now. So I do appreciate that. The definition of a lame duck: one that is weak or falls behind in ability or achievement, especially an ailing company. An elected official or group continuing to hold political office during the period between the election and the inauguration of a successor. Our previous boards in the last 4 years were lame ducks. I appreciate the fact that you are not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see no one else in line. Oh, one more. Hurry, hurry.
Don't fall, though.
I didn't want to stand in line. K. Stark, 5915. I would be upset if I didn't come up and say what I'm saying, because my husband is a veteran and he's at the Veterans Day program here in Sun City, and this is the first time I haven't attended with him. So I'm feeling guilty about that, but I have a passion that's bothering me about the increase in the RCSC fees. When I read it in the Independent a couple of weeks ago, the headline gave me the impression that it was saying that our fees hadn't gone up in 6 years. And the fact that they have gone up in the last 2 years, it just threw me for a loop. So I guess the question is, and maybe you've identified it at another meeting, but someone informed me when I came in, well, they're counting from 2017 to 2023 of 6 years. But it has gone up the last 2 years, and to increase it by the same amount of those 2 years put together for next year is a lot, especially I live in Phase 1 and I see a lot of poor people. And I just want you to consider before you raise it that much. Thank you.
I would just add that we were aware of the error in the newspaper, and it was corrected at a later date. So I'm not sure where that showed up, but there was a errata that was printed to correct that statement. Go ahead.
Okay, Susan Bjork, 112-650. My husband is here, and he's not able to stay for the special session. He's yielding his time to me so that I can speak about the PAC. And so I will not be speaking at the special session. I will speak now, and you can consider it at that time. So normally I just wing this, but this is so important to me that I drafted something that I'm going to read to you. Many of you will remember some of it's new because of the many emails that I've sent you. So first, I'd like to acknowledge that this board has made some good improvements, and it's appreciated. The budget process and communication is better, and the transparency effort is there. All along this year, you've been making progress. You brought in a new GM who should ensure he does better for Sun City than the neglected maintenance, and now has the board spending $6 million on the executive golf course irrigation system because of that neglect. However, it seems now the wheels might have fallen off, and we're right back to the old ways of the board doing business here in Sun City. When this board stopped the ridiculous $40 million spend, another appreciation, it was promised that good utilization, trend data, internal and external, would be used to make the best decision for Sun City as a whole. After all, that's the board's commission. SAC was formed, and months later, recommendations were scrapped, and Plan M seemed a great compromise aside from the cost to renovate the theater, which could have been managed, and we'd be in the much-needed renovation mode now. Then came looking at where the PAC should be. Good communication was promised, and results would be a comparison of options to consider. Communication has been disappointing at best. There are questions around the elements the board submitted, despite many trying to get clarity. I believe they're the same elements from CCBG, which include an orchestra pit. So hopefully that's going to be clarified at the next meeting. There are questions around, now, just 7 business days ago, the architect firm put forth the one and only top recommendation. They did quickly say that Mountain View was also a viable option, and now you're rushing through the vote. I want to know why. No comparisons or costs. I mean, we waited all this year, so it's not like we rushed through this, but at the end, we're rushing through it. That's the point. No comparison or costs, no building prototypes, just squares where they will go. How does anyone with good, sound business mind make a decision on location based on that? They don't. The recommendation was no surprise to me, or I believe many, as the board directed that architect in the 146 minutes into the February 29, 2024 board meeting video. If you watch that, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go listen to the video, it'll make your day.
Okay, so Susan, you're now using your husband's time.
Thank you very much, Connie. Where are the comparisons of option with cost estimate? Where is the good data that backs up this decision you'll be voting on today to build a standalone 2 to 3-story building at a beautiful lakefront? Did you get input from the homeowners on Lakeview? Where is the long-term planning of how this will be worked around? And 2 years when Lakeville will be renovated. The June 2023 presentation does not support the spend, and the list of potential activities for this facility only take up 200 days of the year. And if we look at hours, 35 of those days are for old movies at 2 hours a day. That's 70 hours. And what happens to the facilities that will serve as the venue for the activities the board believes should be transferred to this PAC? Will they sit empty? Have many of these other groups, handbells, ukulele, piano club, et cetera, lobbied for new space because what they use now is insufficient? How much will the energy and upkeep costs be, particularly in the summer when it sits empty? The board will be spending $14 million of our money on a facility to pacify the 75 members and possibly 1,000 homeowners who have used the Mountain View Theater. That's $14K per member. While I'm not against a venue for their hobby, we need to be forward thinking about the next generation, the remaining Lakeview renovations that will occur in a couple of years, and the costs and what is good for the community as a whole. Not just the Players Club, a dog plug, and pickleball trades. Why not build a beautiful multi-function community center with the nice theater-style pull-out seating that was researched and tie in some of the ASU recommendations, walking paths that tie into the beautiful hill, a cafe meeting place of some sort, multi-use room that takes advantage of the lake view. The Players Club would get their theater, while it could also be used for other functions than just the limited uses a theater offers. High school debate teams, really? I urge you to take a tour of the Grand and their setup. It's beautiful. Something similar would be fantastic for that property. What I do know is, while I and nobody is perfect, I would never spend other people's money unwisely. The parable of the 3 servants in Matthew is a good read. Regardless, we all know inherently right from wrong. This is a community self-governed by the owners. Let's make wise decisions and not turn into Youngstown. Please fulfill your promises of full transparency to the membership and stop the trading deals that seem to be going on for special interests. Wasteful spending and special interest deals are adding to our rising fees, which must go up. I'm not complaining about the fees, but if we continue down this road, it's going to get worse. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? All right. The next meeting of the Board of Directors will be November 21st. That's coming up shortly at 9 a.m. here in this auditorium, and that's a week earlier because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So if you want to be sure to mark your calendars appropriately. The next exchange will be December 9th at 9 a.m., again here. And the next annual meeting is a bit off here. It's March 11th, 2025, in the evening, 6 p.m., but again in this auditorium. As we all know now, we're going to have a special session following this exchange, but we're going to take about a 10-minute break here and then reconvene. And for those who have signed up to speak, when we get to those motions, then you will have the opportunity to speak on those particular motions that you have signed up for. All right, there being no further business and without any objections, this meeting, exchange meeting, is adjourned. Thank you.
This is a copyrighted production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.